Welcome to Tigray Media House. My name is Millet Brahana. It has been 19 months since the war on Tigray began, and the toll has been devastatingly high. And actually is still ongoing with the siege that's happening. Once the siege is lifted, we know that there will be tremendous work that needs to be done to help rebuild the country. In addition to just basic peace and justice efforts that will be undertaken, entire hospital systems have to be rebuilt. Entire school systems will have to be rebuilt. The environment will have to be nurtured and brought back to health because there's been so much destruction. And all of that is in addition to the mental and physical needs of the people themselves in Tigray who have been under siege for almost 2 years now. The hope for rebuilding Tigray once again falls on the diaspora who brought Tigray to a national stage and has continued to advocate for their families. And they are not disappointing. Photo after photo after photo, post after post after post of graduates in the diaspora, from community college to Ivy League schools. We have been seeing the success of Tegaru in the diaspora in spite of all the trauma that is occurring in their homelands. And photo after photo and post after post, these young people talk about how they will use their degrees to help rebuild Tigray into a successful nation. Today, I have a wonderful guest with us, Elsa Yehedego. She is a recent graduate. She has her master's degree in international development, and she's here with us today. Hi, Elsa. Welcome to the show.
Hello, Melita. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes. Tell us a little bit about your story. Where were you born? Where are you from? Let's get to know you first, and then we'll get into a little bit about your accomplishments.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I was born and raised in Aksum, Tigray. I moved to the States when I was a teenager, around 13. I've been here since, in Colorado particularly. And yeah, my home is Aksum.
Very nice. Is all of your family here, or do you still have family back in Aksum?
Yes, I do have some family members still back home in Tigray, who unfortunately is still facing all the things our fellow brothers and sisters, families are facing as well. So,
yeah.
Yes.
Are your parents here with you?
Yes, my mother is with me, along with my brothers and siblings. Immediate family, majority of them are in the States, but I do have extended families back home.
Okay. Tell us a little bit. I mentioned earlier that your generation played the most significant role in bringing awareness to what's happening in Tigray. Can you talk a little bit about what motivated you to be so vocal, because you have been vocal this entire time? And what do you feel like has been most effective in how you've advocated over the past 19 months?
Right. I mean, what's happening at home is not something that anyone can really fathom, especially when they are in their school environment or work environment for that. It's a very hard time, generally speaking, to overcome such a barriers, to continue advocating and still being present in the day-to-day lives of being. And so the way I've been able to advocate has not always been the same way. This time I was able to hold my flag across the stage when I was graduating from University of Denver, where I also was able to ask for my professor to hold the flag with me, the provost to hold the flag with me, so that we can acknowledge that Tigray needs help. Tigray needs our help, and we need to be able to hold Tigray and support. And so the process of me letting the professor, the provost, hold that flag was that. And in terms of advocating for Tigray, I've been able to, write majority of my papers during my master's program. Most of the case studies that I've done were about Tigray and what's happening and how we can help moving forward. Because as you had mentioned, there's so many things happening. There's so many, damages that are done to the community of Tigray, that there needs to be more support from the diaspora and from grassroots solutions. And so I've been able to help and advocate in that aspect, which is a bit different from what other folks have done on media.
Yeah. And there's something symbolic, and we're showing the clip of you and your professor holding that flag. There's something symbolic too about her grabbing the flag and holding it with you instead of you just holding it. That was a very powerful moment for a lot of us to see. Were there times you wanted to give up, especially when you're in school, that's hard enough, but you're actually writing case studies about what's happening in Tigray? Were there times that you felt like you wanted to give up, or how did you do? And if so, how did you deal with that?
Right. That's a great question. There were times where I felt like I need to just let it go and give up. But I think recognizing where our people are at and that our people essentially need our help, and that I need to continue stepping up and being able to be the voice and to continue to advocate. I went to a predominantly white institution, and so being present in that school in itself was in itself a voice, and it felt though I had the space and the opportunity to advocate for my people. And it's right. I don't want Tigray to be painted a certain way. I wanted to make sure that the right informations were being portrayed in the classrooms as well as broadly within the university. And so that's essentially what I was trying to do regarding that.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure if I answered the question, but
you did. And you said something really important too. I'm a big advocate of telling your own story, of painting your own picture, because if you allow someone else to do it, it's going to reflect something that's more than likely positive for them, for the person who's telling the story. So I think that's a really powerful point. So you graduated from the University of Denver with a degree in international studies. Or international development. Why did you choose international development? Why was that important to you?
Yeah, absolutely. So from undergrad, I studied the similar things. During undergrad, I did international affairs. And for graduate school, I did development. And essentially, from the beginning of it all, I've always wanted to advocate and help my people. And my focus has always been about East Africa, or just Africa generally, and how I could contribute my knowledge into just not only a theory, but to an action where we can help and come into a solution where there's so many conflicts among African countries and so many needs that are, resources or other things that our people need. And I've always wanted to help in whatever I can. During my high school, I had actually done a project where I was collecting school supplies, among other basic supplies such as glasses, toothbrush, so on and forth, where I was able to take back to Aksum, to the middle school I had attended while I was there, and distribute it among the students that were there. I've always wanted to help in whatever way there was possible for me to do so. And with my career, potentially within international development, that is what I strive to do, to help and continue to be an advocate for my people and beyond. And so that's what I hope to do in the future, as well as right now, me always wanting to help and be a present person for our people.
And that's such a great example of being in high school and collecting supplies to take back home. There's a role for everyone, regardless of your age or regardless of your abilities, or there's always a role for everyone in going back back to Tigray and helping. So thank you for sharing that story. Your concentration is in conflict resolution, gender and human rights in particular, very valuable tools right now with everything that's going on in Tigray. Can you tell us what is conflict resolution? Can you just tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, generally speaking, conflict resolution entails, different issues being recognized with the conflicted groups, and essentially coming into an agreement of and negotiating amongst what the issue is. Sometimes that is easy said than done. In most cases, I've learned it in theory. However, it also has unfolded in my personal life, being what's going on back home. And so with the hopes of the fact that there is negotiation amongst these different groups, it is coming to some sort of an agreement and solution for the better of the people, for the better of the citizens who aren't suffering, in this case with the war. Though I was able to learn it broadly from different types of conflicts in war, it's always easy said than done when it comes to actually resolving and negotiating and coming to an agreement.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. And as you know, Abiy Ahmed actually allegedly has his PhD and wrote his thesis on social capital and its role in conflict resolution. But he's rejected the African Union. He's rejected elders who wanted to come in and try to negotiate this conflict. It's been very frustrating. There's talks now about potentially solving this conflict by going into Kenya, finding a neutral person to broker this. So our hopes are that there can be some type of resolution to what's happening in Tigray because of the devastating impact on our families. So I talk to a lot of Tegaru. I spend a lot of time with young Tegaru, and I notice a trend. I hear this often and it comes out in different ways, but I hear things like, when I learned I was Tigrayan, or when I figured out I'm Tigrayan. And it's not a literal comment. I mean, clearly they know where they're from. They know that they're Tigrayan. You're from Aksum. But this question about identity is a powerful one. And this genocide has really brought that to the forefront for Tigrayans. And I think there's been a huge shift in how, especially young Tegaru in the diaspora, view their identity. It was a very jarring sort of awakening. Can you, I know you got your undergraduate degree from UNC and you weren't able to walk because of COVID, but you have some photos with the Ethiopian flag, for example, which we all did pre-war. Do you remember the moment that sort of changed for you, or the moment of clarity, or when you started to question your identity? And when did it become apparent to you that you're a Tigrayan, to the point where you walk across the stage with a Tigrayan flag?
Right. A great question. Yeah, I think I've always been an advocate and known that I am Tigrayan and that I was from Aksum. I think what I came to realization too is that who I was surrounded by, in regards to who supported what and who was on my side regarding this when the war had begun. I've always told, I'm from Tigray, I'm from Aksum, but never have I asked other Habeshis or other folks where they were from or what region they were from, because I never, cared about that. That should not identify me as well as a person. And so, but when I came to realization of whom I was surrounded by, it was very unfortunate to see the true color of, whom I had called a family not being alongside of me during one of the hardest time anyone can go through. But fortunately, also, I have to say that though one side I was experiencing loss of friends, loss of people that I called family, etc., on the other side, I was gaining other Tegaru brothers and sisters and gaining more closer relationship that I could call my sister and brothers now. And so, yes, I did lose a few friends and a few whom I called family, but essentially I also gained many people in my within my circle where I'm happy to call my family now. So yes, it showed the true color of others. However, I gained a lot of support from now people that I called my family. So
yeah. That moment when you walk across the stage and your professor helps you hold the flag up has gone viral. I mean, it's been shared everywhere among the Gadu circles, and people are swelling with pride, this huge sense of pride. Did you think that would happen? And what's your reaction to how, I mean, everyone knows Elsa now. She's the girl who walked across the stage, got her master's degree in international development, and held up the Tigrayan flag. What's your reaction to that?
yeah, I did not expect to go viral while going across the stage with my flag. I wanted to confidently, represent Tigray. That was the whole goal of me holding the flag all the way through. I actually held the flag and took pictures with, the actual photographer of the university, as well as I held my flag around the area where the graduation took place back to my seat. And one was to obviously be an advocate for Tigray and make sure that Tigray is being heard. And two was to be confident in where I am from. It's with the hope that it will be a country and it is my country flag, and I'm just simply holding it and representing my country. But I did not expect the result of the fact that it went viral and it went everywhere. But I'm happy that it did. I'm happy to see other people being proud of where they come from and sharing it with their loved ones. It's amazing to see, us connecting in such a great moment, a positive moment when there is so many things surrounding us that can make us think or be a certain way other than that. And so I'm happy to be part of the positive in this aspect, and also be an advocate to a predominantly white institution, and for them to continue questioning what is that or where is that from is in itself the goal that I had going into it. So
absolutely.
Yes.
And you're right. Tigray has gone viral several times over the past 19 months for sadder reasons because of genocide. So to have this positive story is one that definitely excites us all. You even took it a step further. This was your moment. You graduated, you earned this degree. It was your moment, and you decided that you would donate all of your graduation money to Mahata. I thought that was, I couldn't even believe that when I heard that. I mean, it's we all know we love getting the graduation money, and you go out and buy your car, or you use it to start your life and get an apartment, or all these different things. But you said, I'm donating my graduation money to Mahata. Why did you do that?
Yes. So I did decide to do majority of my gifts to Mahata, as well as actually a church that I grew up called Kidana Meheret Hamarono. Here in Colorado. I was very fortunate to have such an opportunity to go and get my degree and hold my flag and so on. It's a privilege to do such a thing, and I know that is not, accessible for everyone everywhere or just back home as well. And so I wanted to make sure that people who are, fortunate and not able to have this opportunity, I want to be able to help in whatever way I can. And so if it means helping my people back home, then it is everything that I can do as a student. So I've actually decided that I will be donating a total of $6,000, $3,000 for Mahata and $3,000 for Denver Hamarono Kidana Meheret Church. And so that is what I have decided. And I'm very happy to do so, because it is going to essentially help our people for the better.
Wow. Just Incredible. Again, you keep showing us that it's possible to help regardless of where you are, what your status is, what your financial ability is. There's always a way that you can contribute and help. So thank you for being that example, Elsa. We're honored. We're proud of you and your successes. There are countless young Tagaro around the world, and certainly we've seen a lot here in North America and the United States of graduates who are proudly holding their flags, proudly sharing their gifts with the world. It's not always financial. Some people can give their gifts, their financial gifts, but others have talents that they can share and use to give back and help rebuild Tigray. So thank you so much for sharing that. We're actually going to close this show out in an interesting way today, in a different way than I generally close my shows out. We have several graduates who are going to share their stories about how they plan to use their education and their talents to help rebuild Tigray. And Elsa, we'll start with you, and then we'll go right into those stories. So would you please just tell us how you plan to use your education and your gifts to help rebuild Tigray? And you can do this in English or in Tigray now, whatever you'd like.
Thank you so much, Melita. ዓዲ ዘሎ ኩሉ ይርዳእና እዩ ብርሑቕ ዋላ ኮይንና ዳ እምበር ከቢድ ምዃኑ ብዙሕ ነገራት ክትሕልፉ ዘለኹም ብዙሕ ጭንቂ ብዙሕ ፕሮብለም ከም ዘሎ ይርዳእና እዩ ኣብዚ ኮይና ብቪድዮ ኹም ብኻሊእ ኢንፎርሜሽን ዳበፅሐና ስለ ዝኾነ ይርዳእና እዩ እና ንዕኡ ከም ዘሎ ኮይኑ ንሕና ክንሕግዝ ኣነ ክሕግዝ ዝደልዮ በቲ ተማሃርክዎ ነገር ኣብ ዓዲ ዘሎ ናይ ዓዲ ግራስሩት ሶሉሽን ንክንከፍት እና ኣብ ዲያስፖራ ዘለና ድማ ብምንታይ ሶሉሽን ክንሕግዝ ንኽእል ብዝበሃል ትምኒት እዩ ኩሉ ነገር ኣነ ዝምነዮ ዘለኹ ኣነ ክገብሮ ዝምነዮ ዘለኹ ኩሉ ንዓኻትክን ዋዕሮታት ደቂ ኣንስትዮ ኩሉ ተጋዳላይ ኣሕዋትናን ቤተሰብናን ንክንሕግዝ ብኩሉ ዓቕምና ኢና ክንምኩር ኣብዚ ዘለና ዳያስፖራ ንኹን እና ኣጆኹም ክብል ይደሊ continue striving for being as you are, and hopefully ክንሕግዝ ብዝደለናዮ ብዝረኸብናዮ opportunity ድማ ንምንና ኣጆኹም ዋዕሮታት ኣሕዋተይ ክብል ይደሊ ያው በእንግሊሽ ናብ ትግርኛ ስለዝነበርኩ ሕውስስና ፈልክ እየ በርግጥ ተዛሪበ ግን ክንሕግዝ ኩሉ ነገርና ንዓኻትኩም ብዓቕምና ምኩር ኢና ይቕኒየለይ
My name is Melat Kiros. I graduated from Notre Dame Law School, and my hope is to mentor and advise future Tagaros in joining the legal field.
My name is Fitzhao Huri. I got my master's degree in accountancy from Wichita State University. I want to get actively engaged in the rebuilding process of Tigray, and I will use all the knowledge and the experience that I have towards achieving that goal.
Hello everyone, my name is Maleta. I majored in biology with minor in math, and what I hope to do for Tigray with my degree is, first, I want to further my education, but ultimately I want to help in rebuilding the healthcare system in Tigray and building it better for the future generation of Tigray. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Selam. I just graduated with my bachelor's degree in political science, and I'm hoping to continue my academic career and receiving my master's in education policy. I want to use these degrees to help reform and rebuild Tigray's education system, as well as ensure that each child in Tigray is receiving their human right to an education. Thank you.
Tonight from Kelibal, قرأوا جزء بكمبيوتر ساينس تمرق فيه. نا تقرأ كجزء للي أو حشة نا تكنولوجي مبعوالنا داقم عندنا نتاك تمرد تعال كيرا تسفى من الله.
Hello, my name is Aiden Amara. I graduated from University of Digital Columbia with a bachelor's degree in computer science. I want to use my degree to help young kids of Tigray to learn coding and programming, also to excel in science and technology. Tigray is the air.